Hey everybody, today is December 22nd, 2023. I'm
And
Gene,
I'm Zane.
and you're hanging with Uncle.
How's it going? I tell you guys how's it going. I normally just tell him. I'm going to ask you guys now. How's it going? Hope it's going good. It's something I'm going to do for New Year's, which is coming up. Woo! And also Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Speaking of, this is going to be our last show of the year,
Yes.
so we'll see you again on January 5th, or after New Year's, but that's it for right now. But I kind of like jumping into it, man. So
Hold on. First, please hit the like button. Absolutely. And also subscribe so we can boost the numbers a little bit, reach out to more and have more of a conversation, maybe a more broad conversation, because today is going to be a little bit of a doozy.
yeah.
Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, it is. So I kind of want to get personal a little bit. We talk about pay yourself here.
Yes.
And it's not a topic every week, but I just want to share something with you guys. So paid my house off.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very
It's
cool.
official. I got the paperwork in the mail. The mortgage is mine. I have no more encumbrances on it, man. It's mine, free and clear. And I did that not by like overpaying on it so much, you know.
Right.
I took a 15-year mortgage and I paid it off in 7.5. So
Half the time.
again, you can do that by, say for example, your mortgage is $1,000, right? If you send $500 every 2 weeks, like when you get paid, instead of paying 12 payments out of the year, now it's like you're making 13.
That one
Because,
extra.
right, there's 26 payments in that year. Divide that by 2 because it's biweekly.
Right.
That turns out to be 13 months. And so whatever extra that you can put on top of that just accelerates it that much more.
Okay.
So honestly, also by paying yourself and giving yourself a good credit score really can pay off. So I had my PSA numbers come back.
Okay.
I'm
Flexing hard on the show today.
in the clear. You know, my numbers are good.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, so radiation paid off. Thank you, everyone, for all your support and your prayers. I appreciate it. But it also kind of made me think, right?
Okay.
So I have excellent credit. My score is like over 800. And why have good credit unless you're not going to use it? So I just took out an unsecured personal loan, paid off the mortgage. So now if anything were to happen to me, Lori's home. She doesn't have to worry about where am I going to go. The house is paid for. You know, now she can rest easy and I can rest easy. And but it feels good that just by putting myself in that situation, I could accelerate it that much farther. And it's done, man. So,
Congrats.
yeah,
That's huge.
it is. Thank you.
That's huge. There's a heavy burden that just like fell off your shoulders, I'm sure. Like it's I'm sure it's something that was just back there the whole time. Like you got to take care of this because like right now I'm just living in an apartment. I don't know what it's like to pay something off quite yet. I've paid a car off once, but then wrecked it a few months later or ruined it. So it's like, I know what that feels like, but for a house, congratulations, man. That's
Thanks,
awesome.
man. But, you know, again, just by taking care of yourself.
And paying
By
yourself.
how you. So, again,
Gotta throw it in there.
by that example, you're not paying 1 penny more than you're normally paying. You're just making that extra payment by how you're paying it off instead of paying $1,250 a month, you know, on top of that 1,000. Now you're still paying 1,000, but you're just doing it 500 every 2 weeks, and you get an extra payment.
Yeah.
And you knock years off of it, and you save a lot of money in interest.
That sounds reasonable to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like a good strategy for a pay yourself segment for sure.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
I mean, Britt and I are looking into homes at some point. I mean, right now it's the saving aspect, but after the holidays, I mean, is when we got to start back over. It's like we got to find out that strategy for that next. I mean, honestly, we have to remember we already pay for rent, so it's technically already something we do. We just got to get into that situation,
Right?
you know.
And you know that sucks, man, because what you pay in rent is double what I paid in mortgage.
That's insane.
You know, but how are you gonna? You're paying that much more, but you can't qualify to get into a house.
Around $2,000.
What is wrong with this picture, America?
$2,000 a month.
You know, there's something happening here that nobody's paying attention to, and you can't just keep stepping on people and expecting them to, you know, keep going to the plantation for you, making you rich.
And we don't work chump jobs. I'm a trainer. I teach CPR, first aid. I teach people how to do direct care work. And girlfriend is a HR manager. We don't have chump jobs.
No, not at all.
Or shouldn't be chump jobs.
What you do
like
contributes to society in a meaningful way. You help save lives. You help teach people to save lives, which is very important. I mean, anytime you can save a life, I mean,
educate somebody on something.
Nobody's going to get out of this outstanding, but if you can help a family have a loved one around for a little longer, that's very important.
I taught my 10-year-old today 30 compressions, 2 breaths. He did 30.
You know?
He only did 30. He got tired, but still, like, it's just like the knowing about it, first of all. Like, no, he's not certified to give somebody CPR, but it really, you don't have to have a certificate to do it, to still provide it.
No, you don't.
You don't. But legalities and stuff like that, whatever. But, like, I teach people how to successfully do it. That's the goal there, within their jobs.
And, you know, honestly, so I know we were having the conversation earlier. When you're teaching somebody CPR, and they look and see how it's done on TV or in the movies, and they're like, hey, that doesn't look the same.
It's so different.
You know, take 30 minutes out of your day, learn CPR, AED certification. It's not hard, and just that little bit of time that you've taken out of your day will last you a lifetime.
I only teach it within my my company, so I do not do it for people. I'm sorry, you can't reach out to me and have me come and teach you or teach you online. Sorry, I wish I could. That would be cool, or something cool to do. Video log that for something in the future, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just you can go educate yourself. I honestly teach the class within 4 hours. Some classes are 2 days. Some classes are a whole day. I normally go through like recertifications in a way. Most of the people come in with their certifications, so yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. And there are other, like I said, there's different ones. You know, there's CPR, there's AED. There's also first responder, where you actually have to learn, like, you know, to set tourniquets and, you know, things like that, set neck braces and back braces. So, you know, there's all kinds of different levels and stuff, but
AEDs.
You know, just the bare minimum. If you take CPR,
they have online classes for it.
It's
They do.
I highly recommend it. You know, you never know whose life you could save.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on. Yeah.
You know, yeah, this one can get kind of, and I really, you guys listening out there would love your input on this.
Good. Yeah, because this one's a little bit more like, it's a question. It's not necessarily a topic.
So, yeah, all right, so think, okay. I think that complacency is a killer. When we take things for granted, oh, that can't happen here, is when it happens. Now, 80 years ago, we went to Europe and fought fascism and defeated Adolf Hitler and liberated Europe because he had taken over a lot of Russia, you know, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, just steamrolled those countries, took France, was bombing the crap out of London. Hitler was uncontrollable. And when you have a dictator in office, it's up to the world to get rid of them, because the good people in the country where they are didn't do anything to stop them, like Mitch McConnell. You know, you could have done something and you didn't. You know, you're a weak bitch. It's always up to somebody else to step up. Yeah. Well, I mean, really, they had the chance to convict him in the Senate.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be sitting here right now hoping now the courts will do something, because that weak bastard didn't have the balls to
do what he needed to do.
Convict.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Say guilty.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh, he did it, but it's not up to me to do it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That's why we have an
job.
impeachment process, right? Convict. Yeah. We're done with it. We wouldn't even be sitting here having this conversation.
Exactly.
But anyway, what if now, because of his actions, because people of the United States didn't learn, and they think, yes, a country in white supremacy is the way to go, just like Hitler did. What's going to happen when China and Russia band together and invade the United States to take out the fascist dictator here? And if you don't think it's possible, just look at history and see how many times fascist dictators have been taken out.
It's kind of crazy because, like, I always think it's like kind of like a concept of where you're going. Because, like, what if, right? What if the morality curve was changed in a way? What if the minority became majority?
Who's to say it couldn't happen?
I'm just saying, like, what makes that line? Like, that's where, like we were going to say, this is more of a question than, like, really, like, a topic. It's like, where does the line of human morality lie? Where does the line of humanity lie, really? Because in one place, one thing can mean another. In one place, entirely different could mean another thing. You know, like, what is the human mindset of each population in that question, I guess? Who is actually the minority and majority? What is the balance of power?
Well, honestly, I think sometimes in those situations it comes down to just being something as simple as the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So say, for example, Iran and Saudi Arabia don't get along. But to defeat the United States, they both have a bunch of resources and are going to come together to make sure they take the tyrant out.
Who knows?
You never know.
So, like, yeah, like, what if back in time the morality curve was different? Like,
and is there something that could change it now to set something like this off?
And I think that's where we have to understand that history repeats itself. I brought this up earlier. It's a statement that kind of makes me cringe now. I'm not going to bring it why, but it's just history does repeat itself. And we have to learn from that. That's what that statement means, to learn from what has happened, right? And where do we just stop with the what is what and finally just say, no, this is it, period, and just move on? Because that's where I think we get to that progress, which is what you and I are hoping for as humans, is to move forward and whatever. Right now, we're still stuck with repetitive history that even today is happening, that happened years ago.
I think it's an indictment on our educational system. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard people say, oh my God, I hate history. It's so boring just learning dates and stuff. And that's really not history. If that's how you were taught history, then you were taught wrong. History is about learning what happened and why, and recognizing when it's happening again right in front of you. Right. That is history. That is how it should be taught. That is how it should be learned.
And that is a whole other segment that we have talked about beforehand, how we're trying to mend that, right? We're trying to change that, taking books out of things. erasing things that have actually existed that we're not teaching anymore. We're removing that education, like you echoing off of you, and making people think differently. We're programming people differently. Now, I was explaining to Gene earlier, if I was born in some other country, which I also didn't get the option to choose, I chose the United States, I guess. But if anywhere I spawned, like in a game in another country, I would have a different mindset, different ideal of life, different morality as a human. Like, so it's like, where is that actual line? Is there a line? Because death means one thing in one place, but it means one thing in another. It means power in another, or it means nothing to another. Like, what is a god to a non-believer? You know? So many questions.
You know, I honestly, and there is a certain standard, and again, nothing is perfect, but there's even war crimes. It's called The Hague. Again, something that I think George Bush should be sat in front of The Hague for is war crimes for illegally invading Iraq.
So what makes something a war crime, is that mainly like the ideal that majority of people in the country agree that that is a war crime? How is that created?
So war crimes are defined, again, by The Hague, where there are crimes that say, for example, unprovoking a war against a country. Just attacking them unprovoked is a war crime.
Okay.
That's why I think Bush should be prosecuted at The Hague, because we had no business going to Iraq.
So
Afghanistan, yeah.
You have to announce you're going into war?
Well, here in the United States, at least, Congress is the only one that can authorize war. The president does not have the authority to declare war.
Huh. Okay.
Even if you go back after Pearl Harbor was attacked, in FDR's speech, it's a day that will live in infamy, and he asked Congress to declare war on the Empire of Japan. He was asking Congress to do it because Congress is the only one that can declare war.
Okay.
But dictators, like Putin when he invaded Ukraine, that was just my decision unilaterally, and I'm going to do it. And that's what I fear Cadet Bonespurs would do if he got in office, and what I fear the retribution from the rest of the world would be when they got tired of his bullshit.
Which makes sense. Now, I have been kind of trickling off the conversation here. I have been hearing about popular votes lately that honestly both of them are not getting good numbers, but the numbers are spilling more on the blue side than the red side, it seems, at the moment in popularity. Is it a meme? Is it people trolling? Is it actually the majority or minority is a different balance of power than what we thought?
No, there's been an outcry, I guess, for lack of a better term, to abolish the Electoral College and go to an Electoral College because I want to say 7 of the 8 last presidential elections, the popular vote went to a Democrat, yet Gore had the popular vote, but yet Bush became president. Yeah. Hillary Clinton had the popular vote, yet Cadet Bonespurs became president. Okay. And that's where the outcry for abolishing the Electoral College is. Okay. And the only people really that want to keep the Electoral College are the minority, because that's what the Electoral College is. It's minority rule.
It keeps them in not in power, but gives them the same amount of power, I guess, is the idea.
It actually gives them more power. So you think, California has more electoral votes. They have the most power. No, bullshit. If that were the case, then Bush never would have been president and Trump never would have been president, because the popular vote would have, ruled. But it doesn't. And that's why, again, the minority rules, because they lost the popular vote, but won because of this technicality, this thing called the Electoral College.
Now, cycling back to that moral conversation we had then, is our government based off of morality? Is it really balanced well to function the way that it's meant to function? Because as of right now, from what I'm understanding, is that if we were to base it off of a moral standpoint of how government should be ran, it is not ran evenly.
No, it's not ran evenly. It's not applied evenly, and it never was because people like you and me would have had no say nor vote at the very beginning of the framework of this country. We would have been property of some white dude like George Washington or Thomas Jefferson because they owned slaves too. Yeah. So no, it was not created equal. It was not founded on Christian principles because there's nothing Christian about slavery or genocide of the Native American people that lived here already. So,
or even judging people.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, those lies are going to catch up because, again, it sounds good, but it's not what happened.
Yeah, like the idea that the popular vote, I think, would be the more majority-minority based type of vote that would show that, okay, the population believes that this is the way to go, we should go. That if you just eliminate that period when there's the electoral college that's in the way of that. Like that is the overall majority versus minority conversation there with the popular vote. If you really think about it, because that's one person saying yes and everything is even, everyone's equal, everyone's voting saying yes for this or yes for that. That's honestly how voting should be, I feel.
Honestly, you're right. It should be, man. But again, it's not. And the only reason it's not is because if they can get by with obtaining power with less votes, why change? Because now, if we switch to a popular vote and abolish the Electoral College, you can't win because your message doesn't resonate with a majority of Americans because a majority of Americans support a woman's right to choose.
Fact.
And that's why you don't want the electoral. That's why you want to keep the Electoral College. The majority of people want some type of sensible gun reform in this country, but you want to control from the minority and tell the majority of American people they can't have that.
It would affect the money in your pockets.
So that's why they want to keep the Electoral Colleges, to keep the minority in power, and that's it. There's no other reason. You can sugarcoat it with anything else you want, but that is the reason.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. It just the government being corrupt sounds like a adjective that I would compare it to based on what we just talked about right now, because it is based off of policies and principles and blah, blah, blah that people can flex, people can change, people can mend and mold to their liking rather than what we want it to be and how we would like it to be. So on a moral compass or majority versus minority basis of it, I guess.
Again, and if anybody's listening for the first time, because we support abolishing the Electoral College, then it will take 2/3 of Congress to abolish the Electoral College, right? There is a candidate running in every 435 districts that supports abolishing the Electoral College. Find that candidate and support them. Now that's one vote. It's not an Electoral College vote. That's one person, one vote, sending that representative to Washington, D.C., and then boom. Yes, now you have a vote to abolish the Electoral College.
Yep.
And that's where your one vote makes a difference and why it's important.
And again, your stance is your stance. Your conversation is your conversation. Please leave us a comment on the video if you have any ideas or any conversation you want to spark up with this, because normally our stance, you said your stance, abolish Electoral College, but also
it's a progressive idea.
The approach is a non-color approach for me. I don't do the blue and red. I look at the candidate based off the candidate and what they support. And so it's just, we're not trying to be as biased and tell you guys how to be. That's how I wanted to make sure you did that disclaimer.
Maybe if we got rid of the Electoral College,
you'd be able to do that.
Their message would change and they'd be free to say what they want to say instead of what their donors are telling them to say. So there's so many reasons to abolish the Electoral College, and maybe we can avoid putting a tyrant in office if we do.
Exactly.
And a dictator.
I couldn't agree more, man. But yeah, where is that line drawn? And why are we still curving it and bending it to keep us in the same cycle of history when we can just untie it and be done?
It's the minority doing their last gasp to hold on to power and control the majority.
It's a scary thing. It's possible. Anyways, it's time for that dumbass of the week.
It is, man.
I want to go first because I'm going to forget mine. Greg Abbott gets my dumbass of the week this week. I looked this one up on my own. I'm proud. I talked to Gene about it, and he was like, hey, that's great. I'll look into it too. And I was like, hey. But anyways, new border law. Ooh. Greg Abbott did a new border law. Gene has legit reasons why it's bad. I have the humane, social, ideal reason why it's bad. One, they paint a poster saying, this is what an illegal looks like. Go after them and you can arrest them whenever you want to. Two, and wait, hold on, Simon. Let me go back to that. This is what they look like. How do you describe that? I don't know. Brown. I mean, it could be against me for all I say.
Profiling.
Profiling, right? Discriminatory stuff right here, right? I'm putting a poster here if that's what you're trying to figure out. Anybody can fit that description, even if they are legal or not, and they could be thrown in jail for that.
I'm so tired of fitting the description.
Two, why is it, again, a Band-Aid law that is causing this controversy when we're not trying to fix the actual issue, which is the border itself? We are not trying to remove our fellow Americans off the streets and put them in jail and possibly throw any type of charge we can on them that we feel like it, because we had a very, very corrupt police story today. I didn't want to talk about it, though. But they do that. Anyways, I don't think it's right that we're putting a Band-Aid law when we can just be fixing our borders and how people can come in illegally, when people are saying they should come in legally, when we don't have a good process on how to do that.
So here's my thing on that, because you're absolutely right. But first of all, it's unconstitutional what Greg Abbott is doing, because
The legal talk.
you cannot have a state law that dictates what is legal and not for people entering this country from another country. That is federal jurisdiction. That falls under the executive branch.
Especially.
So, number one, anyone that arrests Greg Abbott, or, on this new law Greg Abbott signed into law, is unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. It's just unconstitutional. But
Absolutely.
So for even trying that, I agree with you. I think he's a dumbass.
And I think also it keeps people from claiming asylum, which is what also our country is based off of. Like, people who want to flee their countries that are being inhumane, going back to our morality conversation earlier, towards them, and they want a place that should be humane to them, should be. Seeking asylum here is probably a good thing for them, but no, we're kind of putting a barrier up for that now. And then Brent does make a valid point. You check all the boxes, brother.
So, but the main thing that really pisses me off about Greg Abbott is just that he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Number one, you break the immigration system by defunding it and taking judges off the immigration court that could hear these cases.
That could help.
And then say, look, the system doesn't work, after you're the ones that broke it. So that whole thing about we have an immigration problem, well, if you would have supported and shored up and reinforced the system instead of destroying it, maybe things would look a little different right now.
I'm going to put something in comparison here to simplify that. So what you're saying is when money stops going towards something, it goes bad, right? Just like our fast food right now as well. Just like how everything else.
That's what cutting spending, with this whole talk of cutting spending, this is what it looks like.
Makes sense. Should probably put money towards things that are important so we can fix it. It makes sense. Greg Abbott gets my dumbass of the week.
All right. My dumbass of the week is Cadet Bone Spurs.
Hey.
And I swear it doesn't get any more stupid than this,
All
right?
right, let's go.
So, Jack Smith filed a motion with the Supreme Court asking them to expedite the decision based on presidential immunity. Okay?
Okay.
Donald Trump said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to slow things down. But
No.
in his case against E. Jean Carroll, where he's being sued, he filed to have his motion to expedite the dismissal of the case, wait for it,
Drum roll.
using Jack Smith as precedent as to why the case should be expedited. So again, Mr. Hypocrite, expedited for me because it's what I want in this case, but don't expedite it in this case for the same legal reasons I want it expedited in this case. You just don't get much more dumbass than that.
Is he actually doing a delay tactic right now? Is that what it is? Is he trying? Is he just being dumb to delay?
He's trying to use an expedited move to delay his civil trial with E. Jean Carroll in the defamation case.
We're not dumb. Hopefully they aren't, right? They know, right?
I mean, I see it.
Yeah.
You know, you're a dumb ass. That you are the biggest hypocrite in the world, and it makes you the biggest dumbass of the week. True. And anyway, that's all I got.
It's all you got. A couple hot takes real quick. Don't call the police if you're having a domestic violence case, I guess, to protect yourself because you might end up getting shot. Go check that out too as well. I'm Zane.
I'm Gene.
It's been Hanging with Uncle. Have a happy holidays. We won't see you until January 5th. Happy New Year. Happy Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Everything else in between.
Everything, whatever you support, happy. If you don't support anything, have a happy